And this is where we work on developing your personal brand. I believe that to be able to pour yourself out, you have to be able to fill yourself up. So within my quiet time, what touched my spirit was this verse here, Matthew 5:14-16, which is, you are the light of the world. Let your good deeds shine out for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father. So in everything that we do, we must understand why we do it in order to be able to fully achieve it. So welcome to Brand You. It's actually an idea that I had about 10 years plus ago. And sometimes when you have ideas, the first thing you do, especially if you're working for someone like Steve Jobs would have done and like Bill Gates would have done, you go to the company that you're working with and you carry the idea to them and you're ready for them to receive it. And they found it was a great idea, but no one wanted to really take the time to execute it. But the concept of the idea is understanding that when you have persons within your company and you help them to feel good about themselves, then they're able to do even better for your business. So Brand You is about being a brand within a brand. And if you want to start your own business or offer your own service, I think it will only serve best if you work consistently on you. So this is where the heartbeat of Brand You comes from. And I tugged with it for quite some time, moved on to another company, presented it to them. And again, they loved the idea, but didn't execute. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I still was a bit hesitant because I tried to get Les Brown to come down some years ago. And at that time, he was already coming to TNT. And then I realized, finally, within my quiet time, I had that aha moment. And I was like, why wait? Do it now. Started putting plans together. And then, boom, pandemic. And I was like, nope. It's been in the incubator stage for too long. So forward ever, backward never. Here we go. So welcome. And thankfully, when it comes to Brand You, what we're going to be looking at least for today, would be some marketing tools. How does this translate for your personal brand, right? And in terms of that, reminding you that you are magic. Also, Simmy is going to be talking to you about attracting your tribe. And then we have the ability to now turn our goals into targets. So thankfully, I have Simmy helping me. I'm going to share some more with you about Simmy in just a bit when she gets ready to present. And in the meantime, I can't go any further without thanking you for joining us today, because it's a very challenging time for all. We're in a very uncertain period, but the great thing is knowing that when we have challenges are there to make us better. So we're thankful for it. And while the world is more or less at sleep, this is the time that we're going to use to now wake our dreams up that we had sleeping for so long. So thank you. So I'm Michelle Borel. I'm a broadcaster, author, as well as a marketer. And I am the proud daughter of Roxanne Brown Phillips, as well as Jean Borel, granddaughter of John and Elsa Borel, as well as Victor and Yvonne Brown. I'd like to say that on both sides of the family is what I'll think of family of first. And I'll say that because the Borels were actually the very first French planters that came from Cedrus. And being the very first French planters, not only that, they had the very first year-round toy store in Trinidad and Tobago, which is Elsa's for Toys. And it came from my grandfather's heartbeat and his love for children, because he felt like, why should toys only come out at Christmas time? Children should have the ability to get toys right through. So that was his heartbeat. And it's a store that he started off of one toy, one item he had in his store. And when one person came in and that door with the bell on it started to ring, ting, ta, ting, ta, ting, ta, ting, something that in my teenage years irritated me a bit, but that bell, it worked. And when he had his first customer, he carried them to that very first item on the shelf. But he did know, he had the wisdom to understand that nobody wanted to see empty shelves. So he wrapped up empty boxes. But when they came in, he carried them to that one item, and then he started to invest and reinvest, and until he had an entire store, a warehouse, other locations as well. So I want to invite you not to leave your family, but let's grow this family of planters and sow some seeds. That's what it's about today, sowing seeds, watering them so they can grow. And this is what happened in doing broadcasting, which is something that I've loved from a very young age. When I started in marketing and I would go to work, I didn't start to notice this until other people started to notice me. And it was when they had their questions with, oh God, why is she always smiling so, boy? That is when I started the question, what do you mean by why I'm always smiling? And tell me if you ever noticed in the workplace, you would find people who are unmotivated, people who are very unhappy, and loads of people who are just lacking in terms of energy. They complain, complain, complain. The boss come, the boss go, they complain. And you wonder to yourself, why do you work in here, boy? And many feel overwhelmed. You know, they're doing loads of things, managing tasks before them and trying to get everything done, but they do it grudgingly. And at times we've all fallen into this category. At times we've all been unmotivated, unhappy, lacked energy, felt overwhelmed. But what is able to carry us back to our center when we understand who we are and whose we are? So that's what we're going to work on building today. And I want you to write this down. Take the time to write it down. It's a phrase that I coined, and that phrase is passion in action. Passion in action. And there's a quote that I want to share with you when it comes to passion in action. You see, loving is not enough, but it's the doing that makes it happen. And John C. Maxwell says, a great leader's courage to fulfill his vision comes from passion, not position, but passion. So passion is a very important word that we can't forget. So passion in action. I love the etymology of words. So this is what I was able to pull out in terms of the word passion. It comes from the Latin pati, which means to suffer. So let's rephrase this question in terms of what are you passionate about and ask, what are you willing to suffer for? You have children. And I know no matter what happens, you're going to ensure that they don't suffer, but you will toil, you will do so many things to ensure they don't suffer. Your spouse, you're going to ensure that they're able to achieve the best that they could achieve. You don't want them to suffer. And your passion, it's linked to what you're willing to do, no matter what happens. Something that you get lost in doing. You wake up in the morning and right after you say, thank you, Lord, for this day, you think, oh gosh, boy, I can't wait to, or you start doing it already. So that is passion. And for me, my passion started, I would say 6 months, because I started talking at 6 months. And it's something that my mom will always say, I wish the child was crying because, oh gosh, that child could talk. And I had this microphone that they gave me at just about 3 years old. And it was a pink microphone. It had a bass, pink bass, you know, those echo microphones. And the yellow part on top with that black cord, that's my mic. And I was so happy. Every time my grandfather would come home, I'll be announcing, ladies and gentlemen, here comes Grandpa. He looks very angry. And from 3 years old, after having that echo microphone, I upgraded to a fan, talking into the fan, hello, and hearing your voice coming back at you in the fan, you know? And at 8 years old, I got the opportunity to finally talk on a real mic for the very first time. I held this mic in my hand. I was so happy. And I got the opportunity to say, ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago. And I was ecstatic. Listen to me. I was on cloud 9. I felt like I was being lifted into another realm. And at 14, I got to host my very first show. And still at 36, being in the broadcast industry for however long, just 2 days shy of my 37th birthday, and I still get butterflies when I have the ability to communicate. And I realize what it is. I love to share information. I love to see people happy. And that's what broadcasting is all about. It's about the ability to entertain, inform, and educate. So from that, went on to not only the broadcast side of things, but also having the ability to do sales, because loving the field, I wanted to learn everything about it. So I learned sound engineering, I learned production, I went and figured out how to make beats, and I did sales and news. And in doing sales, radio sales, because I loved sharing ideas, every time I met with a client, I will share with them, hey, you know what you should do? Or you know what would be a great idea? How about we Because I wasn't just interested in the sale, I was interested in the person. I was interested in building the relationship. And that worked well for me. And that's exactly how I got started in marketing, because it was the ability to do that, that they then asked, here's what, our regional marketing manager left. Would you like the job? And I was like, yeah. Let's work on developing your brand, because this is what you're here for. And I want to ask you, how do you want to be seen? So take a very brief moment, get your paper and pen out, and write for me. Don't take too long, because I want your raw answer. And I want you to tell me, how do you want to be seen? I'm seeing 3 people on my screen though, Javon, Genevieve, and Ramona. So whoever finishes first, you could just put your hand up so I can then move on. All right. So how do you want to be seen? And the next question that I want you to then work on would be, how do you want others to feel? When somebody meets you for the first time, how do you want somebody to feel? When they leave your presence, how should they feel? So to help you with that, here is a list of emotive words. And you don't have to use only what's on this list, just at least 5 words. Write down 5 words with regards to how you want others to feel when they're in your presence and when they leave your presence. Right? So then next we go into the psychology of colors, and colors are quite important. When you think of someone, a lot of how you think of someone when you're seeing someone or you're seeing something, colors within themselves have their very own personality, so therefore will aid in you building that personality or self-image. So when we think of red, red is vibrant, it's passionate. So this is exactly why I thought today I'm wearing red, because I'm talking to you about passion. If you look at my Instagram page, because what I'm sharing a lot on my Instagram would be quotes. I want you to feel that it's dependable and simple, because I want you to feel at ease and relaxed when you look at my Instagram page. When it comes to the book, Soul Spectrum, I used purple, and it's because I wanted you to think and feel royal. So everything is tied into something. We don't just do, we plan in our doing. And interestingly enough, for this Easter weekend, I've been thinking of, wait, when God was talking to Moses, what did he say? He asked him, what do you have in your hand? The staff. And many times we put things off because we're looking at the perfect moment, perfect time to execute, to try to get something else, when whatever you have within your heart, start now with what you have.